this is Crystal Racing with the report for the 2022 Spanish Grand Prix. Max Verstappen is your race winner. I'm rating him 9 out of 10. Had that spin earlier on. I know the commentators claimed it was a gusto win, but to be honest, I think he lost grip on the outside, coming out of turn 4. But ultimately, though, he was given a huge favour by Sergio Perez. Now, I know some Perez fans have been annoyed by it, but having said that, Verstappen clearly had a superior pace during the race, and it has to be said, I don't think Perez really had the pace to win today, but he did drive a very good race, and he deserves a 9 out of 10. George Russell, 9.5 out of 10, drove incredibly well to hold on to what was third place, then became second place, then became the lead due to problems to Leclerc and Sainz, as well as, of course, Perez. Did some very good defensive work, but ultimately, with the Mercedes not being quite quick enough despite improvements, it's 9.5 out of 10. Fourth place, Carlos Sainz, 7.5 out of 10. Once again spun the car, but luckily was able to continue, get his car out of the gravel. It was an okay recovery drive, but in the hands of Charles Leclerc, though, it looked like the fastest car on the track. And I have to say, Carlos Sainz, mate, you seriously need to do better than this. This is not good enough. I'm gonna say this now. This guy is doing a lot worse than what Kimi Räikkönen was doing at Ferrari 4 or 5 years ago. People had a go at Kimi back then, but if it wasn't for problems to Leclerc today, and of course Hamilton, he probably would have finished 6th. And frankly, he honestly looks like the weakest out of the top 3 team drivers at the moment. Just really shocking. 5th place, Lewis Hamilton, 9.5 out of 10. Got hit by Magnussen at the start. Was not his fault, but it was a great recovery drive, despite the fact that, of course, he came up with his usual radio complaint of, oh no, I think we should save the engine, but then, of course, proceeds to go and get a decent result. But having said that, though, what looked like was a potential 4th place, he was forced to give it up due to having to manage an issue towards the end. And what was a 50-second gap to Russell after the accident, he reduced to only about 13 seconds before, of course, he had to slow down to manage his issue. 6th place, Valtteri Bottas, 9 out of 10. Great performance again, but today, though, the Alfa Romeo strategy was pretty stupid. 2-stop was not the way to go in these boiling hot conditions. It should have been at least a 3-stop. And ultimately, what was a possible podium place was literally thrown away by the team, who once again, Alfa Romeo cannot do a pit strategy to save their lives. This team is constantly costing them points in what is arguably the 3rd fastest car on the grid, in my opinion. I know that sounds a bit crazy, but and then of course 7th place, Esteban Ocon. I can't remember what he did during the race, but once again out-qualified Alonso, once again out-raced Alonso. It's been a very good start to the season so far for the Frenchman. 8th place, Lando Norris, 8.5 out of 10. Very good race when you take into consideration that he was severely ill this weekend with tonsillitis. And he didn't do any media interviews because he was so sick. But credit to Norris, got out qualified by Ricciardo, but quickly overtook him early on and drove a solid race. 9th place, Fernando Alonso, 8 out of 10. Had to start at the back of the grid, but it was a decent recovery drive nonetheless. But he only has 4 points for the season, which is pretty poor if you think about it. 10th place, Yuki Tsunoda, 8 out of 10. Another great drive in the AlphaTauri. But I've got to say, though, that car doesn't look particularly great. But Tsunoda did get the better of Gasly today, so that's something. 11th place, Sebastian Vettel, 7.5 out of 10. Don't really think the Aston Martin improved that much with the updates, which look very suspiciously Red Bull-esque. But having said that, Vettel drove a great race. Ricciardo, 6 out of 10. Same story, really. I don't even care about him anymore. He's surely going to be leaving F1 at its rate if he carries on like this. 12th, 13th place, Pierre Gasly. My God, he really is struggling with that car this season. 6 out of 10. 14th place, Mick Schumacher, 7.5 out of 10. Got into Q3 for the first time in his career. But, of course, the horse was just not good enough in the boiling hot conditions. The tyres just burnt out because, of course, you know, with horse, when you have a car that, you know, is a car that you need, you know, once it's quick, you need to be able to manage it, especially in boiling hot conditions. And today was the case. 15th place, Lance Stroll, 6 out of 10. I can't remember what he did, to be honest. 16th place, Nicholas Latifi, 7 out of 10. My goodness me. I mean, yes, I know this is equaling his best finish of seasons before, but today this was his best race of the year. You know, beat Albon, overtook Magnussen in the closing stages. I mean, he wasn't that bad for once. Quite surprising, but having said that, though, he was miles away from scoring points, so it's not really going to make any difference for the team, I'm afraid. 17th place, Kevin Magnussen. Utterly stupid, dumb-arse move, trying to overtake Lewis Hamilton around the outside of turn 4. I don't even know what Magnussen was even thinking. And frankly, it was his fault that he beached it in the gravel. Lucky to get out, but having said that, though, that was just dumb. That was just idiotic. And frankly, yeah, he arguably does deserve reject of the race for that. I mean, driver of the day has to be Lewis Hamilton for his comeback drive. 18th place, Alex Albon. I can't remember what happened. I'm pretty sure he had a problem, but I'm going to give him 6 out of 10 regardless. Then, of course, the two retirees. Ganyu Zhou, 5 out of 10. Retired early on yet again with another technical issue with Alfa Romeo, who seem to be more of a one-car team these days. Because let's face it, when they had to run a two-car team for Kimi and Giovinazzi, they did not have much of an idea what they were doing then. And frankly, with a one-car team, well, they're trying to score as many points as Bottas, but yet they're somehow succeeding to throw away quite a lot of points in the process anyway. So what can you do with that team? Great cars, but awful team, awful pit crew. And of course, Charles Leclerc, 10 out of 10, took pole position, looked like he was going to win the race easily, but the car broke down. In true Ferrari fashion, we're only 5 races into the season, and Scuderia Clownari they are already bottling this championship. Max Verstappen is back in the lead of the championship, Red Bull are back in control of the constructors. God, it's going to be a long year now, I'm afraid, and I really do hope that Ferrari do go on a winning run because, of course, Ferrari, as we all know, they always have a bottle job inside of them. And if they carry on bottling the next few races, the championship's over. So please, Ferrari, get your act together, otherwise I'm going to give up on this season. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe to Crystal Racing, and I'll see you again next time.